So Article 9, Constitutional Commissions. There are 3 constitutional commissions. Okay? When you say Constitutional Commission, the Constitution created them. Therefore, hindi sila pwedeng i-abolish ng Congress by creating a law. So how do we abolish the constitutional commissions? You abolish them by revising or amending the Constitution. Because a mere legislation, an act of Congress, cannot abolish this constitutional commission. That's a guarantee na wala yung political interference or pressure. Diba? Kasi lalo na yung Commission on Audit, Commission on Election, yung civil service sa mga appointment. O diba? O, nandiyan yung mga political and maneuverings. Okay. So, actually, ito daw po ay kinopya sa 1935 Constitution. Ha? Ano kumopya pala ang ating gumawa ng Constitution? O pwede naman. Kasi government document naman yan. Wala naman nagmamay-ari niyan. Okay? Now, the constitutional amendment creating an independent commission on election. O, kasi dati wala yung commission on election siguro doon sa 1935 Constitution. Now, the Civil Service Commission, ano ba ang civil service? Under Article 9-B, Section 2, Paragraph 1, civil service embraces all branches. Yan, diniscuss natin yung mga branches kanina. Subdivisions, instrumentalities and agencies of the government, including GOCC with original charter. In the 1973 Constitution, wala yung phrase na with original charter. Kaya dati, basta GOCC, civil service covered. But in the 1987 Constitution, the phrase was included. Therefore, anong epekto? If the GOCC has no original charter, it is not covered by the term civil service. It is deemed incorporated under the corporation law. Kasi wala siyang original charter. So hindi siya civil service covered. In terms of labor and employment, covered siya ng labor code, hindi ng civil service rules. Yun ang epekto niyan. You have that case of Lumanta versus NLRC and the subsequent case of Paloma versus NLRC. Tama. Okay? Now, in the case of Puna, si Chairman Puna ng Insurance Commission. Okay? The Civil Service Commission is explicitly mandated under Article 9A, Section 1, to be an independent constitutional commission. Additionally, under Section 2, Article 9A of the 1987 Constitution prohibits its members during their tenure from holding any other office or employment. So dapat concentrated ka dyan. Bakit? Medyo malaki naman ang sweldo ng chairman, di ba? 31 ang sweldo ng chairman. Yung mga commissioners ay 30. Magkano yun? Diba? Now, the Civil Service Commission is composed of a chairman, at nakikita ninyo yung chairman, di naman tatanong sa bar yung mga pangalan. Except noong 2006, nagtanong ng pangalan. Yung pangalan ng presidente ng ICJ. Baka hindi naman tatanong ngayon yan. Okay? At merong 2 commissioners. They shall be natural-born citizens of the Philippines. At the time of their appointment, at least 35 years old, with proven capacity for public administration. Wala naman sinabing may college degree, pero hindi rin naman sinabing able to read and write. Okay. Ang civil service nagsimula lang yung panahon ng mga Amerikano. By virtue of Public Act No. 5. September 19, 1901. O 1900. Tapos, September 26, 1900, na-organize ang Civil Service Board. So kaya sa September 26, next month, 123 years old na ang Civil Service Commission. Okay? 1900 nagsimula. So, hindi sila pwedeng mga natalong kandidato sa nakaraang eleksyon, and they're appointed for a term of 7 years without any reappointment. kung babasahin niyo yung original provision ng Constitution, may staggered. Yung first members, yung tatlong nauna, staggered para they will not retire at the same time. Okay? Now, again, in the case of Puna versus Commission on Audit, to reiterate, the word reappointment means second appointment to one and the same office. And Section 1, Paragraph 2, Article 90 of the 1987 Constitution and similar provisions do not peremptorily prohibit the promotional appointment of a commissioner to a chairman. So ano ibig sabihin nito? Yung dating commissioner ng COA, in-appoint na chairman during her term or his term. Ibig bang sabihin, doon sa kanyang pagiging chairman, may 7 years uli siya. Sagot ng Korte Suprema, hindi. Kung naka 2 years na siya as commissioner, after 2 years in-appoint siyang chairman, 5 years na lang siya as chairman. Kasi yung total number of years niya, tenure, will not exceed 7 years. Otherwise, you are circumventing the law. Okay? Maliwanag. Kasi baka magaling ito si commissioner. Mapopromote siyang chairman. Pwede naman kasi diretso kang chairman, diretso kang commissioner. Di ba? Baka magaling, so na-promote na chairman. Hindi na siya magkakaroon ng another 7 years. Hindi naman reappointment yon. That's a promotional appointment. But it should not exceed 7 years in total. Maliwanag, ha? Now, the Civil Service Commission is the central personnel agency of the government and is principally mandated to establish a career service and adopt measures to promote morale, efficiency, integrity, responsiveness, progressiveness, and courtesy in the civil service. Yun na nakakalimutan ng marami, courtesy. Na kapag ka nakikipag-transact sa office nila, ay mga, ano bang tawag doon? Mga tao na hindi magaganda ang, kita mo na, alam mo, judgmental ang tao eh. Nasa tingin mo, mahirap lang ito eh. Sinisigaw-sigawan, may mga na-witness tayong ganyan. Pero kapag ka nag-transact sa office nila, nakabarong, naka-coat and tie, ay naku, grabe ang panginginupo. Huwag ganun. Diba? Regardless of the status of the person, we have to respect them the way they should be respected as individuals. Equality, ika nga. Okay? Now, to strengthen the merit and reward system, to integrate all human resources development program for all levels and ranks. Naku, ang dami niyang mga development training. To institutionalize a management climate conducive to public accountability. Those are the mandates of the Civil Service Commission. Okay? Now, appointments to the civil service shall be made only according to merit and fitness. And this is determined as far as practicable by competitive exams. The only exception ay doon sa mga policy determining, primarily confidential. Yung mga personal secretary, hindi kailangan civil service eligible. But overall, if you want to be in the civil service, you have to be eligible. Kasi that is one of the ways of determining the merit and fitness of the applicant via competitive exam. Okay? And then no officer or employee of the civil service shall be removed or suspended except for cause provided by law, of course, with the observance of due process. No officer or employee of the civil service shall engage directly or indirectly in electioneering or partisan political campaign. So pag ikaw ay civil service employee or official, nasa career service, bawal ka mangampanya for or against. Why? That's for your protection. Kasi baka yung kinakampanya mo matalo, yung bossing mo, kalaban pala yung kinakampanya mo, babawian ka. Wala namang pong personalan, trabaho lang. Nako, believe me, bihira dyan ang trabaho, puro yung personalan. Alam ito ng marami sa inyo kung nasa gobyerno kayo. Quinto versus Comelec. Mga empleyado ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources yata ito, nag-file ng Certificate of Candidacy. Sa ilalim ng Omnibus Election Code, they have deemed to have resigned from their office. The moment they file their Certificate of Candidacy, resign sila. Okay? But for elected officials, they may run for another position without forfeiting their seat. Halimbawa, si Mayor, tapos na yung term, tatakbong congressman, nag-file siya, immediately ba, resign na siya as Mayor? Sino magpapatakbo ng kanyang opisina? So hindi po pwede yan. Kasi siya ay elected. Pero yung appointed ay hindi resign. May kaibahan ano? Ano ang purpose nito? The intent is to impose a strict limitation on the participation of civil service officers and employees in partisan campaign. That is unmistakable. Kasi ang sabi dito ng Korte Suprema, ito yung pangalawang desisyon. Kasi yung naunang desisyon, December 2009, equal protection daw eh. But on motion for reconsideration ng COMELEC, sabi ng Korte Suprema, mali. Magkaiba ang mandate ng elected sa appointed. Yung elected has the direct mandate of the people. Di ba? At saka yung appointed, hindi direct mandate yun eh. And it will create an absurd situation. Like for example, yung chief of police, tumakbong mayor dun sa bayan kung saan siya ang chief. Appointed siya, di ba? Oh, kung siya ay nag-file ng certificate of candidacy, resign siya. Mag-iiba ng chief of police. Pero kung susundin natin yung naunang desisyon na equal protection, na kahit na appointed ka, hindi ka considered resigned, ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, ano ang sitwasyon na yan? Nag-file ng certificate of candidacy yung chief ng police, hindi siya resigned. So what would prevent him from using the resources of his office? At saka that is to depoliticize the civil service. Clear? Oh, the right to self-organization shall not be denied to government employees. That is guaranteed by the Constitution, Article 3, Section 8 of the 1987 Constitution. That the right of the people, including those employed in public and private sectors, to form unions, associations, societies for purposes not contrary to law, shall not be abridged. That was even affirmed by Executive Order number 180. The guidelines on public sector labor management. Okay? The guidelines on how to create unions in the government. Government employees may unionize, but they cannot engage in strike. That's the difference. Executive Order 180 prohibits mass action, concerted activities among civil service employees. Okay? Because the right to unionize is a constitutional right. But the right to strike is a mere statutory right. You have that case of Arizala versus Court of Appeals. Okay? Affirming the constitutionality of Executive Order 180. Now, employees, however, of the government do not have the right even to unionize if they are high-level government employees. Under Section 3 of Executive Order 180. Sino ito? Eh di mga cabinet members, sige nga, mag-unionize kayo. Pinagtatanggal kayo ng Pangulo nyo. Diba? They're serving at the pleasure of the President. Or at the most, they are coterminous with the President. Members of the Armed Forces, PNP, BJMP, and Bureau of Fire Protection, bawal mag-unionize. Ordinary government employees are allowed to unionize. What is prohibited is the act of conducting a strike. How do you define a strike? Strike is the temporary stoppage of work caused by the workers due to a labor dispute. Sige nga, empleyado ka ng gobyerno. May labor dispute ka with the government. You stop working. Is that not prejudicial to public interest? So kaya bawal ang strike sa gobyerno. Diba? Yung mga public school teachers, bawal din mag-strike. Because they are government employees. Kaya maraming teachers ang natanggal because they stage a strike. Sabi nila, walk out yun. Eh walk out, natigil yung trabaho nyo eh. Yung nga nasa classroom kayo, bihira matuto yung mga bata, eh umalis pa kayo. That was a strike for all intents and purposes. Now, temporary employees of the government shall also be given protection by law. Eh, ang problema, ang daming endo sa gobyerno eh. Job order, contract of service. 6 months, nire-renew. Oh, ang problema dyan, wala silang employer-employee relationship with the agency where they are assigned. So in case of problems in their employment, they cannot go to the Civil Service Commission. You are not government employees. Can they go to the labor arbiter? Ano sabi ni arbiter? Eh, gobyerno employer nyo eh. Hindi naman private sector eh. So nasaan sila? I suggest they go to court for contract interpretation. Diba? Otherwise, walang jurisdiction itong mga agencies na ito. Now, appointment ban under the Constitution, sabi ng Korte Suprema, the local government code prohibits losing candidates within 1 year from such election to be appointed to any office in the government. Okay? That's Article 9, Section 6 of the 1987 Constitution. And also the local government code. That's the appointment ban. Yung mga natalong kandidato. Now, no elected official shall be eligible for appointment during his term. Hindi. Itong depende kasi, no? Yung strike kasi is different from rally. Kasi yung rally, sumama siya sa mga mass action na ganyan, nagkakaroon lamang tayo ng strike technically kung merong stoppage of work. So kung sumama siya sa rally and absent naman siya without pay, leave without pay, kung nag-leave with pay siya, sumama sa rally, baka magka-problema. Pero nag-absent siya. Sumama siya doon sa rally. Government employee siya. Hindi naman siya binabayaran ng gobyerno. GSIS versus kapisanan ng manggagawa sa GSIS. Hindi naman siya matatanggal kasi absent siya eh. He's not utilizing government funds. Okay? So ito, no? Walang mga elected ang pwedeng ma-appoint. Welcome. Okay? No elective of appointed public officer or employee shall receive additional double the ano na natin kanina yan, ano? Now, in the case of Puna versus Chairman ng Civil Service Commission, while all other appointed officials in the civil service are allowed to hold other office or employment in the government during their tenure, when such is allowed by law, by the primary function of their positions. Like for example, yung cabinet members, di ba? Their deputies and assistants may do so only when expressly authorized by the Constitution itself. Like for example, yung chairman ng Monetary Board, Secretary of Finance, allowed by the Constitution. Yung Secretary of Justice, as we have learned earlier, di ba? Yung Puna versus Agra, na Secretary of Justice ay pwede at ex officio, not only pwede, kundi appointed siya ex officio member of the Judicial and Bar Council. Okay? So in other words, Section 7, Article 9-B. Hindi naman sila government employees. Kung mga job order, pwede silang sumali. By necessary implication. Why? There is no employer-employee relationship. They're not civil service employees. Ang pinagbabawalan lang sa mga political campaigns na ito ay yung mga civil service employees, meaning yung may permanent appointment. Yung mga non-career, hindi naman pinagbabawalan kasi wala naman silang career sa gobyerno. In reality, hindi ba? Yun lang mga civil service employees. Okay, welcome. While Section 13, Article 7 is meant to be an exception, applicable only to the President and Vice President and members of the Cabinet and their deputies and assistants. Okay? At yung mga feedback mechanism and so on, diba? Ngayon sa website nila, now written request must be acted upon within 15 working days from receipt, and as much as possible must not contain more than 3 signatories or initials. Kasi mas marami ang pipirma, mas matagal. Mas marami ang pipirma, may possibility na nagkakapalagayang loob. Okay? At nagadaan daw sa maboboting usapan. At napapagkasunduan, hindi naman lahat siguro. Now, in the case of Civil Service versus Court of Appeals, the Civil Service has the power to discipline government employees because this is the central personnel agency of the government. Nasa kanya ang record ng lahat ng government employees. Kaya lang ang mga desisyon ng Civil Service Commission, ia-apila natin sa Court of Appeals via Rule 43. The special civil action of certiorari under Rule 65 may be resorted to only when any tribunal board of officer has acted without or in excess of jurisdiction. Therefore, you allege grave abuse of discretion. But you can only utilize that as a matter of policy if there's no plain, adequate, speedy remedy under the ordinary course of law. Mapapagalitan ka ng Supreme Court. Mag-Rule 43 ka na lang. In the case of Sambahon versus Public Attorney's Office, meron ditong dinismiss na abogado ang PAW. Tapos, ni-reinstate ng Civil Service Commission on appeal. Anong gagawin naman ngayon ng Public Attorney's Office? Di ko questionin ito sa Supreme Court. So under the present legal milieu, disciplining authorities have the right to appeal to Civil Service Commission. Diba? Or appeal the decisions of the Civil Service, which have modified the penalty originally meted against an erring government personnel. So yung PAW naman pwedeng pumunta sa Korte Suprema para questionin. Or sa Court of Appeals muna. Huwag muna diretso sa Supreme Court. Okay? So what about the Commission on Election? Ganun din, natural born citizen, 35 years old at hindi pwede ang able to read and write. Dapat holders of a college degree. Okay? Abogado naman si chairman. Kilala nating personal yan. Ayan. At hindi natalong kandidato sa nakaraang eleksyon. Siya kasi andin namin dati sa PLM. He was the one who invited me to teach in the College of Law of PLM. Okay? Now, majority, including the chairman, must be members of the bar for at least 10 years. O yan, dati siyang host dyan sa UNTV at palagi tayo nai-invite dyan. The chairman, including the commissioners, so 7 yan, 6 commissioners must be appointed by the President for a term of 7 years without any reappointment at subject to the confirmation of the Commission on Appointments. Okay? Now, the COMELEC is the proper appellate court clothed with jurisdiction to hear the appeal from MTC. Diba mga barangay officials, ang magdedesisyon ay MTC. Hindi mo iaapila sa RTC. Iaapila mo ito sa COMELEC within 5 days after promulgation of the decision. 5 days, At yan din ang sabi ng Korte Suprema. Under Supreme Court Administrative Order Number 7, under Rule 2, the regional trial courts shall have exclusive original jurisdiction over election contests involving municipal officials. Okay? So pag mga barangay, municipal trial court, appeal sa COMELEC. Pag municipal officials, election, regional trial court, appeal sa COMELEC. Okay? Yan ang sinasabi ng Supreme Court Administrative Order Number 7. Rule 2, particularly Section 2. Now, in the case of Villarosa versus Pestin, hindi po ito si Dean Pestin ng inyong PUP College of Law. Yan. Under Section 3, Article 9 of the 1987 Constitution, the Commission on Election may sit and bank or in 2 divisions. Kasi 7 lang naman sila . Di ba? So pagka magpapile ka ng kaso sa COMELEC, division muna. Tapos dinesisyonan ng division, you do not go to the Supreme Court or Court of Appeals immediately. You file a motion for reconsideration to the COMELEC en banc. Denial by the COMELEC en banc, that's the time you go to the Supreme Court via petition for review, petition for certiorari, petition for certiorari under Rule 64. Okay? But it is similar to 65. So decisions ng COMELEC at saka COA, Yung COMELEC, denial by the division, appeal to en banc, denial by the en banc, the Supreme Court. Rule 64. Yung COA, ay isang division lang naman, tatatlo lang naman yan eh. You go directly to the Supreme Court via petition for certiorari under Rule 64. But that is designed only to correct errors of jurisdiction, not errors of judgment. Okay? Questions of facts cannot be raised except to determine whether or not the COMELEC or COA were guilty of grave abuse of discretion. Yan ang sabi ng Fortune Life versus Commission on Audit. Okay? The petition is filed within 30 days from the notice of the judgment or final order. The filing of a motion for new trial or reconsideration, if allowed, under the procedures of the commission concerned, interrupts the period. Okay? So yun, 30 days. Ha? Kasi doon sa Rule 65, 60 days. So kaya Rule 64 ang susundin. But it is similar to petition for certiorari under Rule 65. However, in the case of Diocese of Bacolod versus COMELEC, sabi ng Korte Suprema, Rule 64 is not the exclusive remedy for all acts of the COMELEC. Why? If you are alleging grave abuse of discretion, you can also file it via Rule 65, in which case you have 60 calendar days. But there must also be a showing that there be no plain, speedy, adequate remedy in the ordinary course of law. In other words, you exhausted all administrative remedies. So take note of that principle, exhaustion of administrative remedies. Okay? Liwanag tayo, ha? Paano mo naman gagamitin yung 65? May 64 ka. Pagagalitan ka ng Korte Suprema dyan. So kailan yon? Only the Supreme Court knows. Kung kailan papayagan ang Rule 65 in lieu or kapalit na Rule 64. Di ba? Dapat magaling ka dyan mag-divine. Divination ang tawag nila. Ano yun? Uhulaan mo. Now, the Commission on Audit. Ganun din. May chairman, may 2 commissioner. Natural born citizens, at least 35 years old, at hindi pwede ang able to read and write. Sila ay dapat certified public accountants with 10 years experience in auditing. Or members of the Philippine Bar engaged in the practice of law for 10 years. At take note, hindi po pwede na at one point they belong to the same profession. All of them, yung tatlo, pare-parehong CPA, hindi pwede. Kailangan may isang lawyer. Hindi po pwedeng pare-parehong isang lawyer. Dapat may kahalong CPA. Why? Hindi marunong mag-compute ang mga abogadong katulad ko. Joke lang. So, kaya mas nakakalamang yung mga CPA sa inyo, no? Kasi madali daw yumaman yan. Kasi meron daw ledger, may mga columns, debit, credit, kupit, puslit. Hindi naman siguro lahat. Narinig ko lang naman yan. Okay? Ganon din, yung mga natalong kandidato, hindi pwede. Now, the chairman, ito yung chairman ngayon, abogado at tama yung pagkakaalam ko na yan ay CPA lawyer, appointed by the President, 7 years, without reappointment, confirmation ng commission appointment kailangan, hindi po pwede yung mga temporary appointments. Okay? At in conclusion, according to the Supreme Court, there is nothing in Section 1, Paragraph 2, Article 90, yung sa COA, that precludes a promotional appointment from commissioner to chairman, provided it is made under the aforestated circumstances or condition, meaning hanggang 7 years maximum. Okay? So in the case of Aban versus Commission on Audit, it is well to be remembered or reminded that the exercise by COA of its general auditing power is among the mechanisms of check and balance. Kasi gastos lang kayo ng gastos eh. O sino magbabantay sa ginagastos nyo? Commission on Audit. Okay? That is instituted under the 1987 Constitution on which our democratic form of government is founded. Democracy is coupled with obligations, accountability. Ano sabi ni John Rockefeller? I believe every right implies responsibility. Every opportunity, an obligation. and every possession a duty. So under Article 90, the COA has the power, authority, and duty to do what? To examine, audit, settle all accounts pertaining to the revenues and receipts of and expenditures or uses of funds and property owned or held in trust by or pertaining to the government or any of its subdivisions, agencies, instrumentalities, including GOCC with original charter. Ang problema ay nakarang administrasyon na flag ng COA, COA pa ang pinagalitan. Diba? At the outset, it must be emphasized that COA is endowed with enough latitude to determine, prevent, and disallow irregular, unnecessary, extravagant, or excessive, unconscionable expenditures of government funds. Guardian ng money of the people ang COA. Huwag mo nating pagalitan. Hindi ba? Pagalitan natin, yun lang ang problema. Who audits the COA? That's a good question, di ba? Baka COA din na nag-audit ng COA. Pwede naman silang i-audit ng Kongreso, hindi ba? They can be audited by Congress kasi nagre-report naman sila, nanghihingi ng budget, hindi ba? Pwede naman silang tanungin. But remember, yung mga commissioner at chairman ng COA ay impeachable officials din. They cannot be removed except by impeachment. Okay? So it is tasked to be vigilant and conscientious in safeguarding the proper use of the government's and ultimately the people's property. Pinagkatiwala lang yan eh. Diba? The exercise of its general audit power is among the constitutional mechanisms. Yun, same with the ombudsman, di ba? Sino naman ang mag-ombudsman kay ombudsman? Ay the impeachment din, Kongreso. Di ba? Kaya umiikot lang yan eh. Okay? Why? Public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to the people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, act with patriotism and justice, and lead modest lives. Okay? So, having said this, we will proceed to amendments and revision. Diba? Kasi dito lang dapat matatapos yung aking coverage ng lecture, but allow me, with your permission, allow me to discuss with you amendments and revisions. Kasi napapanahon naman ito, no? So yan. So let me share my screen again to you so that you could see my lecture in amendments and revisions. Siguro, hindi naman masama kung idadagdag natin ito, no? For the benefit of everyone. Ayan. Okay? So, yeah, welcome. Ako naman, kung mai-share natin at may oras naman tayo, pwede yan. I-share natin. Kasi alam nyo, nung ako'y nagre-review din katulad ninyo, uhaw na uhaw din ako sa mga lectures na ganyan. Hindi nga lang katulad ninyo ngayon na merong online, na merong YouTube, may Facebook. Kami dati nag-aagawan dun sa printed materials eh. Nakikipag-agawan din ako. O pagdating sa bahay, hindi ko naman nababasa. Diba? Yan naman sa club dun eh. Hindi mo naman nabasa. Nakipagtulakan ka pa para makakuha ng handout. Nagalit ka pa. Pagdating sa bahay, hindi mo naman binasa. Okay. So Article 17, as I said, is a manifestation of our power as sovereign people. Under Article 17, any amendment to or revision of this Constitution may be proposed. Take note, proposal pa lamang ito. Dalawang stages kasi yan. Proposal and ratification. Congress, upon a vote of 2/3 of its members, not 2/3, but 3/4 of its members, and a constitutional convention. Yan ang proposal. May ratification. Ngayon, ano ba ang amendment? Amendment refers to an addition or change within the lines of the original Constitution. In other words, konti lang ang binabago. a change that adds, reduces, or deletes without altering the basic principles involved. In the case of Lambino versus Comelec, ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, it only affects the specific provisions being amended. Ay, oo naman. What about revision? Revision, as in the case of Lambino versus Comelec, implies a change that alters a basic principle in the Constitution, like altering the principle of separation of powers or check and balance. Kaya pag presidential to parliamentary, ay revision yan. Kasi ma-alter mo yung separation of powers eh. Di ba? Kasi in a parliamentary form of government, the members of the legislative shall also comprise the members of the executive. Oh, ay di ang revision yan, hindi yan amendment. There is also revision if the change alters the substantial entirety of the Constitution, as when the change affect substantial provisions of the Constitution. Eh parang ganun din yun. Inulit lang. Baguhin natin yung structure ng government. Gawin natin unicameral instead of bicameral. Revision yan. That's not an amendment. Diba? Kasi papayag ba ang Senado na ma-abolish sila? Papayag ba ang Kongreso na kumunti sila? Revision yan. So, the distinction between an amendment and revision becomes crucial. Why? Because only amendments are allowed under the system of people's initiative. Revisions cannot be allowed if you are using people's initiative. That's the reason why in the 1935 and 73 constitutions, there is no need to differentiate amendment against revision. Kasi wala namang people's initiative. But the 1987 Constitution introduced the concept of people's participation via people's initiative. Okay? Well, ang recall po sa kanyan, sa election law, ang erring government official depende kung sinong government official yan. Okay? Kasi pagka impeachable, edi impeachment under Article 11. Pagka naman elected local government officials, ay pwedeng i-recall under the local government code. So kaya depende kung sinong official ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. Elected, di ba? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng elected ay pwedeng i-recall. Katulad ng senador, yung congressman. Di ba? So yan. O yung presidente elected, pero hindi pwedeng i-recall kasi impeachable siya. Okay. So, the Supreme Court, in the case of Lambino versus Comelec, introduced a test. Welcome po. Introduce a test, the quantitative test and the qualitative test. That is to determine whether the proposal constitutes amendment or revisions. Okay? So pag sinabi nating quantitative, the more provisions are to be changed, sila ay revision. The fewer provisions to be changed ay the amendment. Crucial ito kasi hindi pwedeng gamitin ang people's initiative to revise. You can only use people's initiative to amend the Constitution. Okay? Maliwanag yan ang sabi ng Article 17. What about the qualitative test? The qualitative test inquires into the qualitative effects of the proposed changes in the Constitution. The main inquiry is whether the change will accomplish so far-reaching change in the nature of our basic governmental plan as to amount to revision. Okay? Whether there is alteration in the structure of the government. Kaya nga sabi ko, from bicameral to unicameral, revision yan. Hindi lamang ito amendment. And the Supreme Court cited, for example, Article 2, Section 1. Ano nakalagay? The Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Let us say the proposal is like this. The Philippines is a monarchical state. Democratic Republican deleted, replaced by just one word, monarchical. Would that constitute amendment or revision? Under the quantitative test, it may not. Kasi isa lang yung babaguhin mo eh. In fact, 2 words lang ang pinalitan mo eh. But under the qualitative test, I bet that is revision. Because it will alter altogether the structure of our government. Imagine magkakaroon ka ng hari at reyna. Oh, di ba? So, revision yan. Despite the very few changes. Oh, under the qualitative test. Now, what are the stages in the amendments or revision? As I said, proposal. Proposal and ratification in a plebiscite, hindi referendum. Kasi ang referendum walang epekto sa Constitution. Pagka ito may epekto sa Constitution or structure of the government, we call it plebiscite, not referendum. Okay? Although sometimes, di ko naman sila masisi, interchangeably use yung amendment at yung plebiscite at referendum. Oh, babaguhin yung Palawan, gagawin 3. Ay referendum lang yan, hindi po yung plebiscite. Pero yung amyendahan yung Constitution, may ratification tayo, ang tawag dyan plebiscite. Let us discuss the proposal. Proposal can be made by a 3/4 vote of the members of Congress. The Constitution did not say how the voting should be done. Is it 3/4 by all the members voting jointly or separately? So if the proposal is to be made by Congress and they were able to get 3/4, pwede natin questionin sa Supreme Court. 3/4 ba ito ng Senado at ng House separately or jointly? The Constitution did not say so. If that is the case, pwede rin naman ang Constitutional Convention or, bakit ba nawawala? Pagod na yata itong aking slide. People's Initiative. Now let us discuss Constituent Assembly. Be it known to everyone that the Constitution never utilized the term Constituent Assembly. What the Constitution said, it may be proposed by Congress upon a vote of 3/4 of all its members. Sino nagbinyag, nagbinyag? Pinagsama yung nagbansag at nagbinyag. So yung nagbinyag nito ng Constituent Assembly, di ko Kongreso. Assembly naman sila. Okay. So pag nakuha sila ng 3/4, again, hindi natin alam. Ang botohan ba ay separate or joint? Kanina sinabi ko sa inyo, di ba? Pag gusto ng Constitution na joint voting, sinasabi niya. Tulad ng declaration ng martial law. O pag gusto niya separate voting, sinasabi niya. But here, hindi sinabi. Nako. Ang dahilan kasi niyan, nagmamadali si Cory Aquino doon sa Constitution na ito eh. Yung committee doon sa amendments and revisions, they were thinking of a unicameral legislature. Kaya kinopya nila yung 1973 Constitution. Kinopya nila. Ang problema, nung magbotohan doon sa Article 6, nanalo yung bicameral. Hindi na yata na-i-adjust ito. Is it providential? Na mas mahirap ngayon amyenda ng Constitution dahil sa interpretation na yan? Can someone go to the Supreme Court right now and ask the Supreme Court to interpret this? I don't think so. Walang actual case or controversy. Diba? Sabi nyo, concerned citizen suit. Wala namang actual case or controversy. How can you do that? Diba? At mahal daw ang docket fee. Totoo naman. Diba? At dalian na ninyo at magmamahal na rin ang IBP membership fee. Diba? So ito dadaan sa Supreme Court ito to interpret that. Pag ito nangyari, nakakuha sila, assuming na niresolve nito ng Korte Suprema, ang gagawin ng Kongreso, titigil muna siguro sa paggawa ng batas, gagawa ng bagong konstitusyon. Delikado yan. Baka puro pabor sa kanila ang gagawin. And then, you have the Constitutional Convention. Take note, not many are discussing this. There are 2 ways to call a Constitutional Convention under the 1987 Constitution, depending on the votes that Congress can get from among its members. Okay? So Constitutional Convention, number 1, Congress gets a 2/3 vote of all the members. Babalik tayo sa ating basic problem. How should the voting be done? Separately or jointly? Okay? So assuming ni-resolve na ito ng Korte Suprema, alam na paano kumuha ng 2/3, nakuha yung 2/3, Congress will enact a law calling for a convention. Okay? Now, how should the members of the convention be elected or appointed? It depends on the law that may be created by Congress. But based on our experience from the Malolos Constitution, although marami doon inappoint ni Aguinaldo, yun na lang 1934 at 1971. The members were elected by the people. So they are representatives of the people. Except na rin natin yung 1987 kasi inappoint ni Cory. But in previous conventions, the delegates were elected. Pero ang constitution natin wala naman sinabi elected or appointed. So bahala ang Kongreso dyan. Now, there's another way to constitute a convention. Okay? Ito ay na-overlook palagi ito. You get the majority vote of all the members of Congress. Again, we go back to the basic problem of determining how the voting should be done. Separate or joint. Assuming it was resolved, Congress will enact a law asking the people immediately. Bakit tatanungin tayo kagad? Yan ang sabi ng Article 17, Section 3. Nakakuha ka lang ng majority, ask the people. Hoy people, gusto nyo ba ng Constitutional Convention? Okay? And the people said, no. Ay, di tapos na ang boxing. Diba? But, if the majority of the voters said, yes, Congress will then enact a law creating a convention. So, matrabaho, di ba? Kasi tatanungin mo agad yung tao eh. But that's the consequence of just getting a majority vote instead of 3/4 or 2/3. So dalawang paraan ng pagtawag ng convention. Huwag kayo malilito dyan. 2/3 at majority. Yung 3/4, wala namang pangalan sa Constitution pero ang tawag Constituent Assembly. Para huwag na lang kayo malito. That's the 1971 Constitutional Convention. Okay? The delegates were elected. Naku, salamat po. Okay? So, 1971 Constitutional Convention that was supposed to create the 1973 Constitution. Kaya lang, sabi ng mga delegado, pinalitan eh. Pinalitan ng Malacanang. I have no personal knowledge. Ayan. What about People's Initiative? People's Initiative, take note, Lambino versus Comelec cannot be used to revise the Constitution. People's Initiative can only be used to amend the Constitution. Okay? Anong kailangan natin? Kailangan natin ng 12% of all the total number of registered voters. Ang latest na sabi ng Comelec, 68 million ang registered voters. So kailangan natin ng 12% yan. Okay? At in every legislative district, at least 3% ng mga botante. Kaya mahirap-hirap ito eh. Okay? Now, People's Initiative, ang sabi ng Lambino versus Comelec, must be underscored. That initiative and referendum as means by which the people can directly propose 12% ng registered voters sa buong Pilipinas. So ang sabi nitong Comelec, kung tama yung pagkakadinig ko, 68 million yung botante nung nakaraang presidential election. So kung 68 million, 12% yan ang kailangan natin na pipirma doon sa ating petition. Ang Comelec din naman kasi ang magbe-verify niyan, as in the case of Santiago and Lambino. Okay? So, under these two constitutions, 35 and 73, wala kasi diyang People's Initiative eh. Nagkaroon lang ng People's Initiative sa 1987 Constitution. Okay? Now, Congress enacted Republic Act 6735. The Initiatives and Referendums Act of 1989. Ito sana ang gagamitin nung grupo na isinusulong yung amendment. Ito personally hindi ko alam bakit 12% ang gusto nila. At titingnan, hindi ko pa nakita doon sa paminsan-minsan kasi binabasa natin yung records ng Constitutional Commission. Hindi ko pa na-encounter bakit 12%. Bakit nga naman hindi 15? That's a good question, di ba? But as of now, I do not have the answer. Why 15? Why 12? Why not 11? Why not 9? Di ba? Okay. So, panahon ni Mr. Ramos, alam na alam ng administrasyon at that time na sure win na itong si Erap Estrada. Kaya may mga nagsusulong na i-extend ang term ni Presidente Ramos. Okay? Anong gagawin? People's Initiative. Nagpapirma. People's Initiative for Reform, Modernization, and Action. Pirma. Yun yung isa nagsusulong noon. Okay? So para i-extend, amendahan ng Constitution by a People's Initiative, binerify ng COMELEC, Santiago and several other senators went to the Supreme Court questioning that People's Initiative petition dahil ang ginamit daw ay Republic Act 6735. Now, on March 19, 1997, the Supreme Court ruled that, number one, People's Initiative cannot be utilized to revise the Constitution. Can only be used to amend the Constitution. Second, it needs an enabling law. Sabi ng mga nag-file yung pirma, meron ho 6735. But according to the majority of the Supreme Court, of course, there were dissenters. Insofar as initiative to propose amendments to the Constitution is concerned, Republic Act 6735 is incomplete. Miserably failed to satisfy both requirements in subordinate legislation. Kasi COMELEC daw ang mag-verify. Walang ibang mechanism. So invalid yan. Okay? Kaya natuloy ang eleksyon at sure enough, true enough, Erap Estrada won. At yun ang kinakatakutan ng mga kampi ni Mr. Ramos at the time. At ng mga negosyante. Hindi naman nagtagal si Erap. Panahon na naman ni Gloria Arroyo, gusto na namang amyandahan ang Constitution via People's Initiative. Ako personally, I have seen the documents kasi at that time, I was in Samar. Nag-lecture ako dun sa review ng LET, Licensure Exam for Teachers. So may mga bata na nagkakagulo, ano yan? May pagpumirma po dito, magbibigyan daw ng 100. Tinignan ko, ano ba yan? Patingin. Ang nakalagay doon, ikaw ba ay pabor na amyendahan ng saligang batas? Ano yon? Article 6, Article 7, at Article 18. Yun lang. So pipirma ka. Ang dami pumirma. Kasi nga daw, pinangakuan sila ng 100 pesos bawat pirma . Tapos i-verify ng COMELEC. Sabi ng COMELEC, hindi pwede. Kasi may permanent injunction kami in the case of Santiago versus COMELEC. Hindi kami pwede mag-verify unless the Supreme Court lifts the injunction. Okay? So sino ang nag-initiate nito? Ay isang abogado, Attorney Raul Lambino, kaya ang tawag Lambino versus COMELEC. Okay? Now, ang nangyari, sabi ng Korte Suprema, People's Initiative na naman kayo. Number one, there is no need to revisit Santiago. Why? Alam nyo, during the oral arguments, tinatanong yung Solicitor General. Because the Solicitor General is the government lawyer. Diba? Siya ang abogado ng gobyerno sa lahat ng mga asunto. At the time, the Solicitor General was Solicitor General Antonio Eduardo Nachura na naging Associate Justice ng Supreme Court. During oral argument, he was asked, what have you done from 1997 until now, that was 2006, to cure the defects in Republic Act 6735? Because Santiago versus COMELEC told you that 6735 was incomplete, inadequate. In a span of 9 years, what did you do with 6735? Of course, the Solicitor General at the time, a former 3-term congressman, could not answer because Congress did not do anything to amend 6735. Diba? Well, hindi po pwede ang People's Initiative para magkaroon ng amendment supposedly para mag-federal tayo, no, revision yan. Because that will change the structure of the government. Di ba? Clarify natin kanina yan. That is revision, that's not amendment. So you cannot use people's initiative. So, ano sabi ng Korte Suprema? Kung wala kayong ginawa sa 6735 for 9 years, there is no need to revisit Santiago. Di ba? Why? I-revisit natin yan if there was substantial change. Wala naman kayong ginawa. The people may directly propose amendments. Yes, not revision. Through initiative. Tama yan. Kaya lang, we have to distinguish. Ano ang proposal mo? Would that constitute amendment or revision? Ano ba example ng amendment? Itaas natin ang voting age from 18 to 21. That would be an amendment. We can propose that. O kaya, gawin natin na college degree holder ang mga kandidato sa Kongreso, sa pagkapangalawang Pangulo, sa Senado at sa Presidente. That can be an amendment. There is no change in the structure. Mag-change lang yung mga qualified. Di ba? Amendment yan. That can be done by people's initiative. Pero yung gagawin nating unicameral from bicameral, that will change the structure of the government. That would be revision, not amendment. Okay? So kaya, the Supreme Court in Lambino versus Comelec did not revisit Santiago ruling anymore. Of course, you can read the dissenting opinion of Chief Justice Reynato Puno. Na para kay Justice Puno, kompleto na yung batas. So ano pang kailangan natin? Diba? But of course, we do not get a ruling from the dissenters. We get the ruling from the majority. And the majority said there was no substantial change in 6735. Therefore, you still cannot utilize the people's initiative to amend the Constitution. Kailangan yung baguhin ang 6735. Okay? And the second stage, of course, ay ratification. Pag nagawa na yung Constitution, yung bago, aaprubahan ng Presidente from the time of the approval of the President, siyempre Presidente siya eh. COMELEC now will schedule a plebiscite. Not earlier than 60 days, but not later than 90 days from the time the President approved the new Constitution. The proposal to amend the Constitution through people's initiative must relate also to the amendment proper. Of course, yung amendment mismo. Diba? Yung gusto nyong baguhin sa Constitution. Example nga ng amendment, itataas natin yung voting age from 18 to 21 kasi 18 ang voting age natin eh. Diba? So gawin natin 21. O kaya gawin natin college degree holder. Yung qualification sa pagkapangulo, pangalawang pangulo, senador at congressman. Baka marami magalit yan. Hindi talaga mag-a-amend yan. But that can be done by a people's initiative. Yeah, welcome, no problem. Okay? So yun ang ratification. Now, ratification of the proposed amendment and shall be ratified pagka ito naman ay people's initiative. Ganun din, no? After the certification by the COMELEC. Yun. So, yan po ang mga stages in amending or revising the Constitution. Yan, yung mga pwede nyong fallback position. My discussions actually were taken from this book. The 2021 edition of the Constitutional Law 1. Yan po ay galing sa Rex Bookstore. Why was revision only confined to Congress when sovereignty resides in the people? Because we already delegated the power to Congress. Ni-retain lang natin yung certain degree of power to propose legislation. But according to the interpretation of the Supreme Court is different. Nang initiative ay para lang sa amendment, not for revision. Okay? So Bill of Rights, Constitutional Law. Yung diniscuss ko sa inyo kayo sa West Philippine Sea, naririyan din sa Public International Law Simplified. At yung mga labor discussions, naririyan. Okay? And I also have other books. Kung gusto nyong mag-civil service exam, yan, yung reviewer na binabanggit natin kanina. Okay? Then other books, ayan, pwede nyong tingnan. Meron pang iba. And take note that when you become lawyers, it's more important to listen than just to talk. Take a look at the word heart. Remove letter T, you have the word here. Remove letter H, you have the word ear. So in the middle of the word heart is the word ear. And if you try to cut both your ears, but please do not do this at home, and you put them together, you'll form a heart-shaped object. So what does it imply? Our ears are the gateways to our heart. Thank you for your kind words. You'll never know how to love unless you know how to listen. And be contented. And sabi ni Lao Tzu, there's no calamity greater than love is desire. There's no greater guilt than discontentment. And there is no greater disaster than greed. And para maging maligaya ho tayo, do not make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option. Prioritize nyo lang yung mga tao na priority rin kayo. At finally, iwasan nyo po yung mga tao, share ko lang sa inyo, na ang tingin sa inyo ay parang elevator o parang hagdanan. Bakit hagdanan? Kasi napapansin ka lang para gamitin pag hindi available yung elevator. Ano? Basta niya rin yung mga parang Ferris wheel. Bakit? Akala mo pinapaligaya kayo, pala pinapaikot-ikot ka lang. Wala kayong patutunguhan. And finally, iwasan nyo yung mga tao na parang buwan. Bakit buwan? Eh sinasamahan ka sa gabi, pero iwanan ka rin pagdating ng araw. Ano? At pwede kayong pumunta dito sa YouTube channel na ito. Subscribe na rin kayo kung gusto nyo. And then, sa Facebook group na yan, you can get free materials. But please, reminder lang, answer the questions para alam ko na hindi troll ang nagjo-join. Baka kasi mangunguha lang ng material, tapos ibebenta. Huwag ganun. Nakuha natin ng libre, i-share natin ng libre. You can also follow that Facebook page. And I am also inviting you. If you have questions on labor law, for free, you can join us YouTube Live on September 18 at 6 o'clock onwards. That's for free. That's one way to help you become like us.